hot coffee. Come and join us. Put the kettle on. Sweet and Sour's about to start. 4 of the most beautiful, most clever panellists you'll see. One you haven't met before. She's terrific. Doctor of Exercise Physiology, and she'll be addressing these issues with the other ladies. It belongs to everyone. Why don't we have a vote about it? I bet I'd win. Uluru. Should we climb it? Should we not? We want women to be an integral part of the workforce, but only, it seems, if we keep the feminine side of life out of the way. Lactation breaks, that's what we're discussing there. And finally, it would be much better for my mother-in-law to be with people of her own age. Really? That's always what you say once you want to shove people into the old age home, isn't it? All these letters, terrific, with a beautiful lineup coming your way right now. Get a coffee and join me.
Got a problem, big or small, would a miracle be nice? Our motley crew is back, churning out advice. You might even laugh a bit in the following half hour. Park your backside on the couch, cause baby it's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour. It's time for Sweet and Sour. It's time for Sweet and Sour.
There we are. Good evening, everyone. Lovely to have your company. Gary Mitchell with you for the next chat-filled half hour. Who's joining me tonight? First up, one of our newbies, but that's not what you were calling yourself a little earlier. Hello, Dr. Kat.
What was I calling myself?
A sweet and sour virgin.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and you
yes.
can see all the young kids in the...
I know, the
going
sweat.
nuts. Yeah. Terrific to have you here.
Great to be here.
Doctor of Exercise Physiology, but you do so much more now.
Yes, I help women improve their confidence. That's the main thing that I do.
Why only women?
Well, just that's my market and that's who understand me, but men are definitely an audience. But I guess I just appeal to women more.
Okay, that's fair. Does she appeal to you? Hello, Monette.
She appeals to me.
Oh,
She does.
all right.
How are you?
Good. What's new on the cooking circuit?
It's springing into spring, so...
You know, last time you came in, it was truffle season.
I know.
Is it finished?
Yes.
Oh.
Well and truly finished now. It
Did
was
you
a
bring
bit
me in?
shorter than usual.
You didn't bring me any in. What's going on there?
There's a lovely range of truffle products that I can bring in instead.
Never short to actually sell a product. Truffle. Do you make any products?
Do I? No, I help everyone else develop their own.
Oh, you
So I'm a
smarty.
recipe developer.
Lydia, are you home for a little while?
I'm home for a little while, only for a few months.
It's tough to get you on the show.
I know.
You're here, you're there, you're...
I know.
So you're only here for a few months?
For a little while,
And then you go again.
And when I'm here, I just want to be here.
Oh, and when you're here, we just want you to be here too. Thank you for coming on. Terrific to have you.
having me.
Darlene, our songstress, hello.
How are you?
Are we going to sing out tonight? As
Yeah,
we,
we're going to sing
as
some
the-
Marilyn songs like you were singing before.
That's a secret.
Gary loves Marilyn.
He does love Marilyn. My brother-in-law takes the piss out of me because I really love Marilyn. Which Marilyn are we talking about?
Marilyn Monroe.
Is there another?
Manson?
There is no other.
No, he's awful. Terrific to have you
Thank
here,
you.
ladies. All right, here we go. Letter number 1. Seriously, panellists, where do we draw the line? I climbed Ayers Rock over 40 years ago. I had an overwhelming sense of standing in the heart of Australia and experienced a sense of achievement I'd not known before that. Since then, I've always encouraged my friends and family to do it. It's such a magnificent place that belongs to all Australians. Now we're being told the locals don't want us to climb Uluru, as they call it now, because spirits live there. What a load of rot, says Alan of Burnside, South Australia. Apart from not believing in any of that religious rubbish, whether it comes from a culture that's 50,000 years old or from some bloke wearing a white hat in Rome, this side of the panel relate to that bit? I'm an atheist and I can't for the life of me abide by forced compliance to respecting primitive, or for that matter, any religions. It's a step backwards. If you don't have faith in that sort of thing, how arrogant to presume to know... If you do have faith in that sort of thing, how arrogant to presume to know the mind of the gods by suggesting we don't want to offend them by walking on the rock. I am quite offended that we've all been asked to keep off the rock. It's ours too. It belongs to everyone. So why don't we have a vote about it? I bet I'd win. I'm too old to climb it again, but my grandkids should not be deprived. How do we stop this silly spirit mongering? As we said, Alan of Burnside, South Australia. Nat, do you want to climb the rock?
Part of me does. In fact, it's really interesting that this is the letter that's come in, because I had a friend come back just this week from being at Uluru, and she said that she had planned on the 4th day to climb the rock, and she'd booked the $140 both ways, and she then spent time around the rock, and she listened to the guides, the local guides, the Pitjantjatjara tribe. And they spoke about the sacredness of all the different places around the rock, and that there's male and female parts to the rock that each other can't see, and the version of stories we get is actually the children's version. You have to become a coming of age and go through rites of passage to learn the true stories of the rock. And when she explained all those, and as she put it, her redneck brother was explained all those over a period of 4 days, the tone of how they felt about climbing the rock totally changed. And she actually got a refund and used it on a massage and a bottle of rosé in the spa looking over the rock instead, because that's what she felt was the right thing to do. And she said, my brother's a redneck and he felt that was the right thing to do.
Wow.
So not that I'm saying that Alan here is a redneck, but I do think there's a space where you have to have some reverence and respect other people's cultures and beliefs. You know,
Dr.
there's
Kath,
a lack of
come on
reverence
in.
around.
Listen, I've commented on this subject a couple of times before, and it kind of reminds me of when kids fight over a toy. It's like mine, 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 and they don't listen to each other while they're arguing, and you're not going to get anywhere with that. And I think the difficulty is if you're talking, you're not listening. And we need to understand both sides of the coin here. And just because you don't understand something or understand another point of view, religion, spirituality, or whatever the case may be, it doesn't mean they're wrong, and it doesn't mean you're right. And I think the problem is that we're not coming to a compromise here. I think both sides have a valid point, but at the end of the day, no one's listening to each other. So that's why we're not getting anywhere.
Darlene, do you want to climb the rock?
I would love to climb the rock, but at the same time, I am very strong with respecting other people's spiritual beliefs and customs and religions. And I think that we should respect, if that's what's been asked, I think we should respect that. And isn't it enough just to go there and visit and see the rock?
And do what Natalie's friend did.
That's exactly right.
involve
And
yourself
I
with the
think,
culture. Learn.
just like I have been to the Blue Mosque in Istanbul, and they have set it up so beautifully with imagery and descriptions in all different languages of what their culture is and what their beliefs are. And I think they could possibly do that at the rock too. So people don't have to climb it, but they can go there and have a memorial or a shrine of some description, and people can go and see it for themselves and hear about the culture. I think it's really important we hear about the culture. Yeah.
Is it on your bucket list? Because this is a bucket list mentality that wants to go and climb it.
Yeah, it's on my bucket list, and I perhaps would have been like Natalie's friend, wanted to climb it, but I can just visualise myself going there and feeling the energy and listening to the stories. And I personally don't think I would be able to bring myself to climbing it. Alan, we need to respect everybody's religion and cultures. And I just think this does come down to respect. And Catherine, I do really like what you said. We need to kind of find a middle ground. Perhaps if people do have the opportunity to go there, listen to the stories, and maybe there can be a shorter version of the climb, and it can be up to one's own interpretation if they want to climb it or not. But I haven't been, and I cannot wait to go, and I really believe it would be a moving feeling. And yes, very, very proud. It is an Australian icon, and of course you sense that pride, as we all would, but I definitely think this comes down to a bit of respect and preserving what is Uluru.
Should climbing Uluru be banned in considering cultural sensitivities? We asked you at home. And here's what you said. 72% of people said yes, we should ban climbing. And only 28% said no, for whatever reason. Bucket listers. Maybe. That's the way I see it. You don't have to do everything in life. I don't think happiness comes from bucket lists. But that's another issue. We'll talk about that on some other episode of Sweet and Sour. When we come back, we're going to be talking about lactation breaks. Why aren't they in our realm of discussion? And too late for that. We'll come back. Sweet and Sour. Don't go away. We're going to talk about it in a minute. Welcome back to Sweet and Sour. If you'd like to send us a letter, I do actually know that story. You don't. If you'd like to send us a letter, send it to one of these contact points. There we are. There's all our social media bits and pieces on the screen right now. And for every one that lands here, we'll have a good look at it. And if we like it, we pass it on to the panel and discuss. We're going to send you to the movies, courtesy of Natalie Cameron and NRC Communications. And the movie we're sending you to this week, I've forgotten it already, haven't I? The Nightingale. Lucky I've got all these clever women around me to support me. All right, here we go with letter number 2. Babies versus business. Hello, panellists. Well, it started, but we had a long way to go. Paid lactation breaks for women should have been implemented a generation ago. Having babies is the most natural part of life and should not be an economic inconvenience in the workplace. I have trouble believing that some are so strongly against it. What is that? We want women to be an integral part of the workforce, but it seems only if they keep the feminine side out of the way. Not only should we have paid lactation breaks, but childcare at the place of work should without question be a normal part of big business employing people. It offends me that corporations like Telstra, Fairfax, BHP, plus all the local, state and federal government departments don't have this facility. Perhaps they're not really interested in people, only in profits or surplus. Women have decades to go before we are truly equal in the Western world. What can we do, panellists, apart from demanding paid lactation breaks, to speed up the acceptance of feminine requirements in our workplaces? Clarissa of Nunawading in Victoria writes to us. Darlene,
Yes.
what more can we do?
I love this letter. I think that in this day and age, businesses, especially big businesses, should relax a little bit. They should get with the program, and I think they should stop micromanaging people. They should let people do things as they wish to do them. If someone wants to work a 4-hour day, if someone wants to work an 8-hour day, they can. If someone wants to bring their child to work, they can. And they should supply childcare facilities as well. And of course, let women breastfeed at work.
Well, and
Definitely.
And we are moving into that phase. You know, we have a lot of people working at home now.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Yep.
they're not so draconian as they used to be. I remember working in the public service all those years ago. It was flexi time. And that was when they introduced it. And as long as you got your hours up,
That's right.
they didn't care.
Yep.
You know, you could start at 9:30 or you could start at 7:30.
Yep.
Okay, tell me.
Well,
Lactation breaks, number 1, yes or no?
Well, yes, if the baby has to come to work.
If the baby has to come to work.
If the baby has to come. I'm a mum of 2 and I breastfed both my babies for as long as I could. And I'm all for women in the workplace and women's rights and
I
power
hear
to
a
the
butt
women.
coming.
Yeah.
No,
it's
well,
coming.
I just, firstly, I don't think that companies are being sexist and I don't think they're isolating as such. I think there's such a small percentage of women that actually require to bring their child to work and have to breastfeed or lactate their child. So if you are one of, in that very small percentage, I mean, I think you should have the conversation, or as Gary suggested, see if you can work from home. But I don't know, where does it stop? I'm all for women. I'm all
Well,
for
why does it
breastfeeding
need to
and-
stop? Why does it need to stop? We're
I
just
think there's a
changing
flip
culture,
side.
aren't we?
There's a flip side to it, you know.
Which is?
You've got the facilities at work, so you should be coming back. You know, we've got the room for you. Come lactate here, pump off, send the milk home, do that kind of stuff. There's a flip side to it. You know, it kind of takes away some of that space. I can see what Lydia's saying. You know, there is a flip side to that, and there's also, I mean, yes, there's a work from home option, and not everyone is gifted with the ability to have one parent working and one, you know, taking care of the baby. I understand that. But there's also the space that you need and the adjustment to yourself and the relationship and all those things. And sometimes, you know, it can take away that not an excuse, but that reason. Oh, I do need to stay home because I've got the baby. Where I worked, they had a lactation room where you could do those kinds of things.
That's progressive.
That's awesome.
Yeah, at the West Australian. But you
So
know,
some big companies
some big
are doing
companies
that.
are doing it. But I do feel like there is a flip side to it, that it's
Got a long
not
way
as
to go.
one-sided as the the writer might
Of course,
think.
the other thing is, in changing cultures, business cultures, you know, it would send the economy broke if you changed over that, you know, like tomorrow. and it's got to be a gradual thing. And maybe we are moving in that direction. Kath, how do you feel things are happening?
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I think that's really the debate that we're having. We're having this moral, ethical dilemma, but then we also have to meet our bottom line requirements. So you have these sort of two oppositions. You have the women, and I think we should expand this conversation to just say carer, because there's lots of male couples. So you have them, they have two objectives. They have the responsibility to the employer and the responsibility to their child. The employer has one responsibility, and that's to meet bottom line at the end of the day. And how they meet it, that's a whole other thing. But the problem where it gets sticky is essentially the carer is saying to the employer, you have to share in my responsibilities, and that's where it gets sticky. Now, saying that, I'm all for it, because I think happier employees are better
More
employees.
productive.
So
They
that's
deliver better.
but that's, we have to start looking at things in a different way. We can't just live in the dark ages and expect to grow.
We asked our viewers at home, should paid lactation breaks be introduced for nursing mums? And here's what you said. You'd say that was about equal, wouldn't you? 64% versus 36%. So the mindset is there. We think we should be moving across. Now the practicalities have to come in.
Who's responded to that, and whether that's
Why, you want to go and
slanted
tell them off?
No. To see where the stats are weighted towards the women answering
We'll
mostly
argue
yes
about this
and no.
during the break.
Yeah, we will.
When we come back, we're going to be talking about putting mum into a nursing home. More fun
Watch
on
out,
Sweet
Mum.
and Sour. Don't go away.
Right here on Sweet and Sour. It's time for Sweet and Sour. It's time for Sweet and Sour.
Oh, it's all that. We're going to go. Sheila? Dear Mitch, my wife goes to visit her elderly mum every morning and every evening. She's there all the time. My mother-in-law is a widow, but has two other children who have fly-in and fly-out jobs and rarely visit their mum, even when they're here or on a break. It's all left to my wife. I'm starting to get jack of it all. I've told my wife it's time to put her mum in a nursing home, but she doesn't agree and says that we have no reason to do that when mum is so vital, able and mobile. Also, she says her mum simply doesn't have a large group of people about her. So, mum, for some reason, has become our responsibility solely. This seems so unfair to me. I can't work out how to change my wife's mind. In my head, it would be much better for my mother-in-law to be with many people her own age rather than dependent on my wife all the time. What can I do here? Martin of Mandurah in WA. Lydia, Martin's being a bit selfish, isn't he?
I think Martin is being a little bit selfish. Your wife's mother isn't going to be around forever. I know, I personally...
So what if she was, though?
No, I know, but he's obviously wanting time, reading between the lines, he's wanting to spend more time with his wife.
Oh,
And
that's
I'm
a nice
assuming-
slant.
I'm assuming
Do you-
he perhaps
do you
doesn't
reckon
want to spend
that's
as
true?
much time with his mother-in-law. Well, he's expressing some form of frustration, and I feel that from this letter, and that's what I'm getting from it.
You're being very nice to
I'm
Martin.
wondering where in the ranking of siblings your wife is. Perhaps she is the eldest. Generally, it is the eldest that seems to care more for the
Don't
parents.
tell me that. My brother will watch this and then it'll be
Okay,
all
or if it's a female, it's the female. But you know what? Having said that, there is an undeniable bond between a mother and a daughter. I'm not sure what the siblings are, if they're brothers, but I just think let it be.
Let her do. She wants to look after her mum.
Have the conversation. Look, I mean, there's generally always a nursing home conversation that is had.
If
but
needs
you've had
be.
it. She doesn't need it. She doesn't want it.
She doesn't need it.
Go
Good.
with the flow.
For my money, you know, it's a quick way to 6 feet under, putting them in half.
Save the money. Is that what you mean? Or no.
Oh, that's terrible. Darlene, are you likely to put your mum into a...
No, Martin, your wife sounds like a beautiful lady with a heart of gold, and I think you should let her do what she wants to do. And the way I see it is, as far as her spending the time with her mother, if her siblings don't want to, that's their choice. And when the mother's not around anymore, your wife is going to be the one who will feel good about the time she spent with her, and the siblings, they will feel guilty, but that's their choice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Before we ask the other side of the panel, we asked you at home to answer this question for us. Is it normal to expect the elderly to move into nursing homes rather than stay at home? And here's what you said. How wonderful is that? Only 26% of respondents said yes, it's normal to package off the olds into the nursing home. 74% said no. And I think the Australian government's trying to encourage people to stay at home now too. Okay, Kath, how much compassion have you got for Martin of Mandurah?
I actually do, because both my parents are in this exact situation, and I'm just seeing their lives literally just get wasted away by taking care of their parents. Now, I'm not saying it's not the right or wrong thing to do, but I think, Martin, in your case, I think you're not dealing with the objective issues at hand, being that your wife isn't there. She's dealing with immense amounts of guilt, and which turn into shame, meaning guilt, I should be doing more, I should be doing this, turn into I'm not a good daughter unless I do this.
Why couldn't she be dealing with immense amounts of love?
Well, and this is a good point to bring up and something to ask her. Are you doing this out of guilt, or are you doing this out of love? And I think that's a big question to ask, because even if you tell her, only go see your mum 3 times a week, the guilt is just going to go up, and you're still going to be at square one. You're not going to move anymore. So, personally, I think marriage counselling would be a very, very good thing. You need to communicate.
When you get married, you're in a team. And this is a problem that they face together as a team. And it sounds like he's just attacking her as opposed to saying, okay, how do we solve this? You're in Mandurah, let me solve some of it for you, Martin. There's Mahjong, there's the historical club, there's the walking group, they meet twice a week. And yeah, she does need to be with ladies of her own age and perhaps pursue social things. Help her to do that. Help your wife show your mother-in-law how to do that. So show some kindness, show some love and respect for this lady who's been in your life all this time. Obviously, you've been married to your wife for a while, and this lady has been part of your life too. So stop treating your wife as an enemy. Take this problem on together and try and work a way around it.
I think there's something else going on here. I don't know what it is, but, if the daughter wants to get out every night and every morning, and he's sitting there nagging,
Well, there's the answer.
But, I don't know. I go and visit my mum as often as I possibly can, and every time I go, it is such a delight to go and visit her. And she's fantastic. My mum is able, vital, She actually put a licence in without discussing it with me. No, it's time. Boom. I don't know why she did that, but anyway.
Aren't you lovely?
Is it time to go? Start saying goodbye. They're telling us on the screen. We've got to go. Dr. Kath, lovely to have you here.
Want to say goodbye?
Yeah, I know. I just want to stay here.
Was it good?
I feel like I've been properly diverginated.
Oh, gosh.
Maybe you might need to cut that out.
All right. Get the footage for you next week. Terrific. Lovely to have you here. Will you come back?
Absolutely.
Nice to have you here. Hello, good night, my darling. Lovely to have you back on the panel.
Hello and goodbye.
Hello and goodbye.
I've had relationships like that.
We all have. Goodness me. Great to see you. When are you disappearing? When do we get you on the show
No,
again?
in a couple of months. So
In a couple of months.
I'm all
So-
yours.
Wow, this is a saucy goodbye.
But I've got to share myself with Darlene. Good night, my darling.
What a lady to share yourself with.
Hang on. How many minutes have we got? What song are we doing? We're having a heat wave, no?
Oh, tropical heat wave. Yeah. Ooh, it is hot in here.
Yep. That's me, sunshine. Thank all of our wonderful panellists. Thank our terrific crew, and thanks for having us at home tonight, Australia. Good night, everyone. Yeah. The Royal Wave, is that what it is? Or something like that. See you next week. Good night, everybody. What?